From the pitch, let's head on over to the hard court once again in the NBA. The league is facing a rise in COVID-19 cases with several players placed under its health and safety protocols. Let's go all out on this story right now with sports writer Josh Planos. I always want to say our sports writer. Josh is joining us as always live from Nebraska. Buddy, good morning. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks as always for having me.
I apologize. I always feel we have that property, you're our go-to anyway. Well, Josh, I did mention it. COVID-19 really taking a toll in the NBA recently. A number of games had to be postponed. Dozens of players, including some of the biggest names in the league. You can even form a dream team already with these players that are out. They're forced to miss time on the floor because of the health and safety protocols by the NBA. Talk about this heartbreaking setback, Josh, for the NBA, just as things, are going back to normal, especially there in the U.S.
Yeah, as a fan of the sport and as someone who wants to see American and global society move forward however it can, this was a pretty deflating week. The safest option, of course, is always going to be to not play the games, but all of the major players in the league ecosystem, and in turn all of the money, from the owners to the league execs to the players, they all want to play. And Commissioner Adam Silver spoke today about how the NBA is going to do everything it can to push through the COVID-19 surge, and the league has no plans to stop the season. Of course, all of that could change really quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we remember what happened when Rudy Gobert tested positive in March 2020. Everything came to a halt within a few hours. So right now the plan is to push forward, and all we can do is hope that cases diminish or that the outlook improves.
Yeah, you're right. Hopefully it doesn't come to a point where, the commissioner says, let's put the games to a stop, pause it for a bit because all these players are going down like flies. Well, one of the teams worst hit by the COVID-19 outbreak is undoubtedly the East leading Brooklyn Nets. 10 of their players are in health and safety protocols. It's no joke, including their big three. You got Kevin Durant, you got James Harden. Kyrie, who was supposed to play in the away games, also went down due to the health and safety protocols. He was activated, but then again, he won't see action because, so many players. The league has suspended 2 Brooklyn games this week, but it looks like the team will have to play again come Friday, Philippine time. Now, Josh, how do the Nets even survive this with essentially a brand new team and a couple of players on 10-day contracts?
Like many teams in the league, it's going to be a patchwork approach. That's what happens when 7 of your 10 leading scorers are just removed from the equation. It'll also mean more opportunities and shots for players like Patty Mills and David Duke and Cam Thomas, but it'll also mean probably a lot of losing in the interim. You're going to see a lot of G League players cycle through the league in the coming weeks, as well as former players like Lance Stevenson, for example. But Brooklyn specifically, they're going to need every available player to step up. As of now, they don't even have a roster that could take the floor. So a player has to return these 2 negative tests 24 hours apart to be cleared from protocols. So the hope is they at least get a handful of those guys to pass those tests and get back out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go to the Cleveland Cavaliers, also taking a huge hit. They barely have a team as well. They've been playing well here early in the season. They have 5 players entering the health and safety protocols on Sunday. Jarrett Allen, Lamar Stevens, Dylan Windler. You also have Denzel Valentine, RJ Nembhard joining Isaac Okoro and Evan Mobley. Talk about these unfortunate turn of events for this young Cleveland team. Especially, they have become one of the more intriguing, exciting teams in the East. A team that's supposedly rebuilding is currently actually one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, teams like Cleveland that are not only newly created rosters, right, but rosters that are filled with young guys who need that time together to learn each other's tendencies.
Yes.
It's incredibly deflating for something like this to happen, right? You don't grow that familiarity overnight. Steph Curry and Draymond Green are phenomenally talented, but the reason why they play seamlessly with one another is because they've logged thousands of hours together.
Right.
And unfortunately, stuff like this, prevents a team like Cleveland from growing in all these areas. Cleveland was really clicking at the time. They're the second best defense in the league. And unfortunately, you lose all the key contributors like Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, who you mentioned. So it's a tough pill to swallow for Cleveland fans, but it's also a pill that the rest of the league is swallowing at the exact same time.
Now, I also want to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, the defending champs. 4 players currently now in health and safety protocols, including the guy on top, their leader, the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis has been out for a week now. Unfortunately, the Bucks also lost their second guy, Chris Middleton, not because of COVID-19, but because of a knee injury. How do the defending champs now turn things around as they try to survive without arguably 2 of their best guys on the floor?
Yeah, the Bucks are one of the few teams in the league dealing with actual injuries in addition to all of these COVID protocols. And the hit to Chris Middleton is just the latest blow. Reportedly, he's close to returning, but we have to assume that won't be at full strength. And then, like you mentioned with Giannis, everything revolves around him. So losing him is the worst thing that can happen to a team. But I will say the Bucks have a relatively easy stretch coming up. You know, they play the Rockets, the Mavs, the Celtics, the Magic, the Pelicans, the Pistons. So they can steal a handful of those games, presumably. But it'll start with guys like Boogie Cousins, George Hill. Like we talked the other week about bringing Boogie in was perfect for their rebounding purposes. But now he actually has the chance to prove to teams that he can still go out there and get buckets like he's done his whole career.
Well, like the Bucks, let's talk about another playoff team in the East, the Atlanta Hawks. Also without their star, without Trey, without Ice Trey. Well, he's one of the latest to enter health and safety protocols. How do the Hawks cope without Trae Young?
Well, they're down 3 of the 4 leading scorers, right? So it'll be the John Collins and Cam Reddish show for a while here. Both of those guys have been, third options basically since they came into the league. And if there's a silver lining, though, for them, it's that they have the opportunity to showcase if they can be leading guys in the NBA and what kind of performances they can put on, right, when they're asked to score in bunches. So I'd anticipate a lot of perimeter shooting and just hoping to tread water on the defensive end for the time being. But it's a really good opportunity for guys who haven't really been asked in the past to take on a leading role.
Well, Josh, before we continue our discussion, you know what time it is, right? It's time to play your favorite segment of the show. I like that reaction from you. Yep, cover your face all you want, buddy. We're going to go on with this. Let's find out the answer to our quiz question of the day. The question I asked earlier, Josh, was 11-time, you can see on the screen, 11-time champion Bill Russell made his debut for the Boston Celtics on this day in 1956. Now, which team did Russell face in his first ever NBA game? Good luck, buddy. Go.
I would guess the Lakers.
Well, that's a great guess. That's a really great guess. I would have guessed the same. Either that or the Knickerbockers, because they're 2 of the longest teams in the NBA. Well, but the correct answer, we're both wrong. Correct answer, let's take a look. St. Louis Hawks. It was a winning debut for Bill Russell as the Celtics beat the Hawks here 95-93. The Hall of Famer scored 6 points, pulled down 16 rebounds. Can you imagine that? His first ever NBA game. 16 boards, first NBA game? Come on. Over at the Western Conference now, from the East, let's move to the West. This COVID-19 outbreak taking also a toll on one of the hottest teams of late. I'm talking about the young Minnesota Timberwolves. Winners of 4 straight games. Entering today, they have already lost 5 players due to the protocols, including Anthony Edwards, Patrick Beverley, and again, very unfortunate, especially since the Wolves seem to finally hit their stride. They've been clicking as of late. What will be the keys, Josh, for the Wolves to stay hot despite the hits to their lineup?
Andre, I think they're about to hop in a time machine and travel back to 2015 to 2020 because we're going to see a lot of Karl Anthony Towns and whether or not he can give them 35 plus per night, because that's what it'll take. We'll see a lot of that Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell 2-man game, and hopefully they can catch a rhythm. But it's a major bummer given how well Anthony Edwards was playing and his emergence this season as a go-to scorer. So hopefully, like is the case with everyone we're discussing, he can get back to the court healthy and quickly.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm a fan of Ant-Man, to be honest. Let's go to the Lakers. The LA Lakers also have 5 players in the health and safety protocols right now. Kent Bazemore, Austin Reeves, who hit that game-winning shot last week, if I'm not mistaken. Dwight Howard as well. And to add salt to the injury here, the Lakers have also lost Anthony Davis to a sprained ligament in his left knee. He's expected to miss at least 4 weeks of action. We know it's already been a roller coaster season here for the Lakers. How do these setbacks affect their campaign? What should they do moving forward? And as they continue to try and hopefully meet those high expectations they've had since before the season started?
Yeah, this team has been inconsistent all year, and I'd expect that to continue. Of course, losing Anthony Davis is about the worst thing that could happen to this team. I'd argue that in terms of his two-way impact, he makes a bigger impact on the court than LeBron does, just because of how well he controls the paint when he's fully engaged. They're going to work in a lot of new guys like Trevor Ariza, Isaiah Thomas, and that's going to mean there's going to be an adjustment period, right, for everyone involved. But I would expect things to get worse before they get better in Los Angeles, because that's the way things are trending for a team that really struggled even when it was fully healthy.
Yeah.
And now you don't even have that card to play.
Yeah. Well, I'm a fan of IT. Happy for him as he's back there, scoring 19 points in 21 minutes. It's nice to see IT rolling again with the Lakers. Okay, Josh, before I let you go, the NBA did have a reason to celebrate recently, despite all the setbacks we've been talking about caused by COVID-19. Steph Curry becoming the league's new king of three-pointers after surpassing Ray Allen for the most career three-pointers in the NBA. I want to get your thoughts, because I wasn't able to get the chance to get your thoughts on that. Curry's milestone. He's now the three-point king. It's just amazing. He changed the game with his shooting. Your thoughts on that? Steph Curry, rightfully so. And do you see someone beating that record set by Steph now?
I think he's one of the great performers of all time for any athlete in any sport. He just exudes confidence and style. He never lost sight of that childhood passion for his craft. And as we inch closer to the holidays, I think that's something we can all learn from and appreciate, whether or not we're fans of basketball or not. I do think that his record will eventually fall. I don't know when, but it's only because he changed the game and changed it to a perimeter scoring affair that his record is even in jeopardy, given that he's about to just, destroy it each and every night.
Well, I think it's intact because he still has, 3 to 4 or 5 years left in the league. I don't think someone can catch that record. Let's see when he retires. So, Josh, again, a pleasure having you, as always, here on the show. Stay safe. Happy holidays. Regards to your wife, buddy. And we'll talk to you again very soon. Stay safe, man.
Happy holidays, Andre.
We just had sports writer Josh Planos joining us live all the way from Nebraska.